The bottle that just won World's Best Single Malt costs around $55. The bottle that just won World's Best Bourbon costs around $40. No celebrity face, no velvet box, no line around the block at the distillery. What they have is rarer. A blind panel that could not be charmed, and a liquid that held up when the label came off. These 10 bottles operate on that same logic. Number 1 is the world title holder most buyers have never poured. Number 10, Deanston 12-year-old, around $40. Most bottles at $40 are trying to hide something. A weak proof, a thin finish, a mash bill that never gets mentioned on the label. Deanston does the opposite. The 12-year-old comes in at 46.3% ABV, non-chill filtered, and bottled with no added color. That is a distillery telling you exactly what is in the glass before you buy it. Then you pour it. The texture arrives first. There is a waxy, almost oily quality that coats the palate in a way that $40 whiskey almost never does. Vanilla and fresh oak show up clean. Some honey, a faint nuttiness that develops slowly rather than announcing itself up front. The finish lingers longer than it has any right to. Non-chill filtration preserves the natural esters that create that texture. When a distillery bottles at this strength without stripping the spirit, you taste the decision. Deanston made the right one. The enthusiast community has been paying attention for years. The wider market has not caught up. That gap is exactly what this list is about. $40. 46.3%. No apologies on the label, and none needed in the glass. Number 9. Powers, 3 Swallow, around $30. In 1886, the original John's Lane Distillery became the first in Dublin to bottle its own whiskey in-house, rather than selling it to merchants who put their own name on it. That decision created the Powers identity. The bold, spicy, pot still driven style that became the brand signature was built on the logic of owning what you make from grain to glass. Powers 3 Swallow is the direct heir to that logic. Pot still Irish whiskey has a texture that grain whiskey and malt whiskey cannot replicate. There is a creaminess, a weight, a spice that sits in the mid-palate and refuses to disappear quietly. 3 Swallow delivers that character at a price point where most buyers are reaching for Jameson without thinking twice. Pour it, and the difference is immediate. The pot still oils hit first, rich and slightly savory. Then a wave of green apple and barley, the classic Irish pot still signature. The spice builds slowly rather than spiking. The finish is longer and more textured than anything else near $30 in the Irish category. Powers has been making whiskey since 1791. It never got the same marketing machine as Jameson. Smart buyers noticed that gap a long time ago. $30 for Irish whiskey history that tastes like it still has something to prove. Loch Lomond 12-year-old, around $40. The International Wine and Spirits Competition awarded Loch Lomond the 2024 Scotch Whisky Producer Trophy. That is not a category award. That is the top producer designation for all of Scotch whisky from one of the most respected competitions in the industry. Most buyers walk right past it. The 12-year-old uses 2 distinct still types at the same distillery. Straight neck stills and traditional swan neck stills produce different spirit characters, and both go into the bottle at 46% ABV, non-chill filtered. On the nose, fresh pears and light citrus, cleaner and more precise than most entry-level Speyside. The palate adds a mild, creamy texture, a hint of toasted grain, and a finish that stays composed rather than fading fast. The distillery also built a track record around its 18-year-old, which won the Whiskey Exchange Whiskey of the Year for 2024. Two expressions from the same distillery, both winning at the highest level. The 12-year-old stops looking like a random buy and starts looking like a deliberate entry point into something serious. $40. Producer of the year. Most of the aisle has no idea. Number 7. Arran 10-year-old. Around $45. Some bottles win one award and the brand puts it on the label for a decade. Arran does something different. The 10-year-old pulled a World Whiskies Awards 2025 category winner, gold at the Scottish Whisky Awards 2025, and best of class with 98 points at the San Francisco World Spirits Competition 2024. 3 different panels. 3 different judging methodologies. 1 bottle. When the same liquid wins across that many independent evaluation systems in a short window, something real is happening in the glass. Pour it, and you find clean, modern island scotch that does not reach for complexity it has not earned. Light citrus on the nose, a little brine, a gentle floral note. The palate is precise. Green apple, mild vanilla, some coastal mineral character that grounds the sweetness without burying it. The finish is proportionate. Nothing overstays its welcome, and nothing disappears too fast. Arran is what you reach for when you want honest scotch, without paying for a famous surname. The distillery has been producing independently since 1995. No century of brand mythology. Just the bottle in your hand and 3 current award wins that say the liquid earned its position. Around $45. Number 6. Benromach 15-year-old. Around $70. In late 2024, the Whiskey Exchange ran its annual Whiskey of the Year blind tasting. More than 300 votes cast. No labels, no brand context, just whiskey in a glass. Benromach 15-year, Old One. The official announcement called it a tightly fought battle, which makes the result more credible, not less. When a consumer panel with no brand allegiance splits close and still picks your bottle, the liquid is doing the work entirely on its own. Benromach also won Best Speyside Single Malt that same year. Most Speyside whiskey has been trained toward softness. Benromach takes a different approach. The distillery describes its goal as recreating the older Speyside style, which means a delicate touch of smoke alongside the fruit, more structure and backbone than the category average, and a finish that asks something of the drinker rather than just dissolving. At 15 years old, that philosophy has had time to develop. Ripe orchard fruit alongside a faint earthiness that most modern Speyside would have polished away. The smoke is real, but quiet. A background note rather than a feature. Number 5. Bunnahabhain 12-year-old. Around $50. Every bottle from Islay gets measured against smoke. Bunnahabhain does something harder. It makes genuinely serious Islay whiskey without leaning on peat as the primary argument for existence. The distillery runs the tallest stills on Islay, which produces a lighter, more delicate spirit. Non-chill filtered, no added color, 46.3% ABV. The 12-year-old earned gold at the International Spirits Challenge 2025. Pour it, and you get the sea. Brine and coastal air on the nose, unmistakably Islay, but followed by dried fruit and a gentle nuttiness rather than a wall of campfire smoke. The palate is rich for the style. Dark fruit, a little leather, some light spice that builds slowly. The finish is long and saline. Smart buyers understand that Bunnahabhain represents the full range of what Islay can do. $50 for a bottle that carries genuine island character without the peat costume is an argument that holds up every time. If you are finding this useful, hit subscribe. Every week I cover value buys, industry credibility gaps, and the bottles that earn their position in the glass rather than on the shelf. Drop a comment below telling me which of these 10 you have already found and which one surprised you most. Number 4. Lot number 40. Canadian Rye. Around $40. Canadian whiskey gets dismissed. The category sits at the bottom of the perception hierarchy for most American whiskey drinkers. Lot number 40 is the bottle that ends that conversation. Pernod Ricard describes it as a pure expression of rye, made from 100% rye grain and finished in a copper pot still. The Canadian Whisky Awards have named it Canadian Whisky of the Year more than once. This is not a rising brand. It is a proven bottle with a long enthusiast track record that most American buyers have simply never given a fair chance. Pour it, and the rye hits immediately. This is not the soft, approachable grain character of a blended Canadian. There is genuine spice, sharp and persistent. Dried fruit underneath it. A warmth on the finish that develops rather than fades. At 100% rye with pot still character, Lot number 40 delivers intensity that a $40 American rye often does not match. If you have dismissed Canadian whiskey without trying this bottle, you dismissed it based on category reputation rather than evidence. Lot number 40 is the evidence. $40. Multiple national championships. The easiest rehabilitation in whiskey. Number 3. A. Smith Bowman Cask Strength. Around $100. The 2025 International Whiskey Competition produced a result that deserved more headlines. The highest-scoring whiskey overall was Kavalan Solist Fino from Taiwan at 97.04. The second highest was A. Smith Bowman Cask Strength, Batch 4 from Virginia at 97.01. 0.03 of a point separated the number 1 whiskey in the world from a bourbon most buyers have never heard of. Made in a state most buyers do not associate with bourbon at all. A. Smith Bowman is Virginia's oldest distillery. No celebrity endorsement. No gift shop moving 30,000 visitors a year. Just a serious operation producing bourbon at a level the competition results cannot ignore. Cask strength means full barrel proof, no dilution. The nose is immediate and rich. Caramel, dark cherry, deep oak from real barrel time. The palate is dense. Toffee, baking spice, a leather note that anchors the fruit and holds everything together. The finish runs long and warm and rewards water if you choose to add it. Around $100 and limited in availability. This is the one bottle on this list you may have to look for. The hunt is worth making. The competition says you are looking for the second best whiskey in the world at that price, from a distillery that has been doing this without fanfare for decades. Number 2. New Riff bottled in Bond Bourbon. Around $40. In February of 2026, the World Whiskies Awards announced its results. New Riff bottled in Bond was named Best Kentucky Bourbon. It was also named World's Best Bourbon. A craft distillery in Newport, Kentucky, that started producing in 2014 had just won the most recognized bourbon title in the world. The mash bill is 65% corn, 30% rye, 5% malted barley. Bottled in Bond means the law governs everything else. 100 proof. Minimum 4 years aging. Single distillery. Single distilling season. The Federal Bottled in Bond Act of 1897 guarantees what is in the glass in ways that most premium label claims simply cannot. Pour it, and the rye percentage shows up as a genuine backbone. Black pepper and baking spice, present and persistent without overwhelming the corn sweetness underneath. Real oak integration deeper than a 4-year bourbon usually delivers. The finish is dry, moderately long, and ends clean. $40. World's Best Bourbon. That gap between the price and the title is the entire argument for smart buying in one number. And the same organization that handed New Riff the best bourbon title in 2026 had already named the next bottle the best single malt on the planet the year before. Number 1. Glenallachie 12-year-old, around $55. The World Whiskies Awards 2025 named Glenallachie 12 the world's best single malt. The same competition. The same blind evaluation standard that 1 year later handed the world's best bourbon title to a $40 bottle from Kentucky. Both results carry the same weight. Both point to the same conclusion. When the panel cannot see the label, price and prestige become irrelevant. Only the liquid votes. Glenallachie sits in Speyside, in the Aberlour area of Scotland. The distillery changed hands in 2017 when Billy Walker, one of the most respected figures in Scotch whisky production, led a buyout and took direct creative control. What followed was a systematic program of cask investment that the enthusiast community noticed before mainstream buyers did. The 12-year-old comes in at 46% ABV, non-chill filtered, and bottled with no added coloring. Those are the same production commitments this list opened with at entry 10. Deanston earned its spot at number 10 partly because of those specs. Glenallachie closes the list with the same principles and a world title to show what happens when a distillery holds that standard for over a decade under focused ownership. Pour it and give it time. The nose is generous but not loud. Rich stewed fruit, dark cherry, a little chocolate, and a warmth from the cask that reads as depth rather than heat. The palate is where the cask investment shows. There is a sweet richness from ex-sherry wood alongside a drier, more structured note that prevents the whole thing from becoming cloying. The texture is full and coating. The mid-palate holds. Then the finish builds, rather than fades, adding light spice and a trace of dried citrus peel that lingers far longer than a $55 bottle has any obligation to deliver. For context, there are single malts from famous Speyside houses with more recognizable names sitting near that price that do not produce this finish. The World Whiskies Awards blind panel came to the same conclusion in 2025. The label was face down. The liquid won on its own. Non-chill filtered. No added color. World's best single malt. Around $55. The system this entire list was built on ends here, at the bottle that proves the system works. Every entry on this list earned its position the same way. In the glass, not on the shelf. Production specs a distillery stands behind publicly. Award results from panels that never saw the label. A price that leaves the buyer with money to spare, rather than a story they overpaid to tell. Next time you are in the aisle, look for a distillery that tells you the ABV, tells you the filtration method, and tells you whether color was added. Then check whether any blind panel confirmed what the specs suggest. That combination narrows the field fast. These 10 bottles are what remains when you apply it. Start at number 2 if you want the simplest argument. Start at number 1 if you want the world title. Either way, you are spending less than most buyers spend on a bottle that will not remember them in the morning.